Hello guys, welcome to today's video. For today I'm going to review and document this really cool guitar right here. This is the ESP-LTD Alexi-200 guitar. It is the cheapest Alexi Laiho model that ESP put out in both price point and construction. And let's get right into it. This guitar comes equipped with a Floyd Rose special bridge, an ESP EMG style pickup, and the fretboard on this guitar is Jatova. It is a maple neck with 24 frets. The inlays on this guitar are made out of acrylic. For what it's worth, it's a really good neck. I think the Jatova looks pretty cool. It looks like a rich dark brown. And the inlays, although they don't luster because they're not made out of pearl or anything like that, they reflect light pretty well and they have a really cool sawtooth design. So just a heads up, I will not be playing this guitar in this video. I actually got this guitar by mistake. I bought the Alexi 600 model LTD from Guitar Center in their used department online, and they sent me the 200 series, which, you know, it's a huge letdown that Guitar Center doesn't even know what guitars they are selling or packaging. But this guitar isn't even set up to play, so that's the reason I'm not playing this guitar for you guys. After I'm done recording this video, I'm just gonna go return it. But you don't need to own one of these for long to realize that they're nowhere near as good as the ESP Japanese counterparts. They're not even as good as the 600 series LTDs, but that's not to say that these 200 series guitars are bad guitars by any means, but just keep in mind that they're cheap and mass produced for profit more than giving the player like premium specs or anything like that. So that's to be expected with these guitars, but again, that doesn't mean they're bad guitars by any means. And actually, I was very impressed with the construction of this guitar because the neck joints don't have any cracks on it, which is something you commonly see with like Dean guitars even when they're right out of the factory. I feel like these guitars were a little better thought of when it came to construction, even though they're cheap and mass produced. So as you guys can see, these guitars come with ESP branded tuners, which hold tune pretty well for what it's worth, and I would have liked these guitars to have come with Grover tuners, but again, you get what you pay for. This guitar also has bolt-on construction, and I feel like the strap button on this guitar is in a very good place. I see a lot of neck joint cracks on guitars that have the strap button on the back plate of the neck joint, so good job to ESP for thinking of this. Also, you guys might have noticed that the back of the body has like a belly carve on top, which just adds a little bit more comfort to this guitar. So I was surprised to find out that these guitars go for $750 new, which is crazy because a few years ago these guitars would go for $500 new, and you would find them in the used market from anywhere between $300 and $400 used in very good condition. Sometimes you would get lucky and find them for $250, but it's insane that the price of these guitars went up after, sadly, Alexi Laiho passed away. And I feel like it's super shady that ESP is price gauging these guitars after Alexi passed away. Again, that's just my opinion, but a lot of people share this opinion. I personally would never pay over $500 for one of these guitars. And unfortunately, the prices of the 600 series LTD Alexi Laiho models went up as well. Okay guys, so just by holding this guitar, you can tell that it's a good guitar in terms of feel because it's not that heavy to begin with, and it also doesn't have any neck dive because the body is a little heavier than the neck of this guitar. And honestly, it just feels good when you hold it, whether you hold it as I am right now, or whether you hold it in between your legs when you play sitting down. And yes, I did play with it a little bit. I basically just doodled around, and that's when I found out it wasn't set up to any particular tuning, and it was just atrociously taken care of with the strings. But yeah, it's a comfortable guitar. I would say it's almost as comfortable as the higher end ESPs or the higher end LTDs of Alexi Laiho. But yeah, overall it's not a bad guitar at all. There are two versions of this guitar, one that is plain black, which is the one I'm holding right now, and there's also a plain white version of this guitar. Unfortunately, the white LTDs go yellow over time, so if you don't want that ivory color in one of these guitars, you're better off getting the black one. So this guitar also looks very cool from every angle. It's definitely got that evolved Randy Rhoads shape, and honestly it looks a lot better than some of the Randy Rhoads guitars that Jackson is putting out. So there is that. And even though this is the cheap version of the Alexi higher end models, and a lot of people think the color looks plain, it actually it can be an advantage for you because this gives a lot of players room for personalization and customization. One common customization that I see with these guitars is a lot of people go online and actually buy the pinstripes in the forms of decals that you find with the higher end Alexi Laiho models. So that's really cool, and it also makes it so that people can actually get colors of pinstripes that haven't even come out yet. So that's really cool. I guess what I'm getting at is that even though like a plain color is seen as dull by a lot of people, it gives you a lot of room for personalization, which gives you the opportunity to make a really unique guitar. Okay guys, so final thoughts on this guitar. In terms of sound, I would give it a 7.5 out of 10. I know I didn't play this guitar for you guys in this video, but I did plug it in, and even though it's atrociously set up, I did what I could with one string patterns and stuff like that, so I have an idea of what this pickup sounds like. And again, I would give it a 7.5 out of 10 at best. And honestly, if I were to get one of these guitars for myself, I would definitely upgrade that pickup to an EMG Alexi, which sounds a lot better and has a ton of tonal ranges with the EQ. In terms of construction, I would give this guitar an 8.5 out of 10. It is very well thought of and very well constructed for what it is, which is a cheap, mass-produced guitar. But they did a good job with what they had, and it goes to show because this guitar will last you a very long time if you take good care of it. In terms of aesthetics, I would give this guitar an 8 out of 10, which is not a bad score at all. This guitar still looks really cool even though it's a little bit plain. But it would be cool if ESP sold the decals of the pinstripes on their website for these guitars to make them look a little bit cooler. So that way you don't have to go into like Etsy or any of those websites to buy the pinstripes. But overall, it's a really good looking guitar. In terms of feel, I would give this guitar an 8.5 out of 10. It feels good to hold it in any position. It's comfortable when you play with it. There's no neck dive with it. It's a good weight. And even though I didn't play or hold this guitar for long, I know for a fact that when you play with it after a while, it still feels comfortable because I have had the pleasure of playing well set up Alexi-200 series guitars. So there is that. Alright guys, thank you so much for watching. If you have questions, comments, or concerns, drop them in the comment section. Besides that, you guys stay safe, and I will see you in the next video. Thank you and stay safe.